are watching live television. Welcome to the Noble Supremecy, a program that looks at governance only on live television. Now, governance comprises of all the processes of governing, whether undertaken by the government of a state or by a marketer or by a network of a social system, family, tribe, formal or informal organizations, a territory across territories, and whether through the laws, norms, power, languages of an organized society. It relates to the process of interaction and decision making among the actors involved in collective problems that lead to the creation, reinforcement, or reproduction of social norms and institutions. In lay terms, it could be described as the political process that exists in and between formal institutions. Governance is the rule or rules that or norms and actions which are structured, sustained to regulate and held accountable. In addition, a variety of external actors without decision-making power can influence the process of governing. This includes think tanks, political parties, and non-governmental organizations, a community, and of course the media. Now, today we are looking at the local government at the council level. In the studio, I'm privileged to have been joined by Vupe Mlenga, a councillor in Kanyama Ward 12. Now, an effective and robust governance framework is essential to the successful performance of a council. The Office of Local Government seeks to promote and support effective intergovernment in councils through monitoring, reporting on the performance of councils. A councillor's primary role is to represent the ward and the people who live in it. Councillors provide a bridge between the community and the council. Now, we are looking at the good governance. Like I just said in the studio, I'm privileged to have been joined by a Vupe Mlenga. Bemba names are difficult to pronounce. Whichever way, I'm joined by Vupe Mlenga, Kanyama Ward 12 Councillor. Welcome to the program.
Hello, welcome to the program.
Oh, thank you very much. Now, just first things are first, who is Vupe Mlenga?
I would say Vupe Mlenga is just a normal person striving in a role to, as I said, try to effect change in people's lives in my area, Monkolo Ward 12. I think in a nutshell, when you describe yourself, people describe themselves by profession. But I think I would like to describe myself as a young lady who would like to change people's lives, who would like to interact with the people, who would like to make a difference and leave a legacy.
Great. Looking at your description, let's go straight into the roles of a councillor. What is your role as a councillor, apart from what we said in the introduction?
Yeah, a councillor, I believe, has a duty. As an elected person, elected leader by the people, I have a duty to execute my roles in several different issues, such as road infrastructure, within health, within water, sanitation, schools and hospitals. All those bodies lie under us, and as the role of a councillor is actually to deliberate on policies and bylaws that are going to make sure that these organizations or institutions conform by and effectively are rolled out into our wards so that they can improve the lives of our people.
Fantastic. You were elected in 2016.
Yes, August 2016 is when we were elected together with the President, His Excellency Edgar Chagbolongo, on that very day.
Yeah. Looking at your definition of a councillor, to look at policies that would work effectively within your communities to govern your people properly. You talked of health facilities, you talked about education facilities and social amenities. Let's look at your constituency, Kanyama. First things first, we have a challenge of water, drainages. And when cholera breaks out, Kanyama is #1 to record cases in Lusaka. And this is perennial. And we are likely to record some cholera cases soon.
I think it's what you say is true. It's unfortunate that every rain season there is a cholera outbreak. If I talk about my catchment area, I am in Kanyama constituency, but most of the people who live in my area, the borderline starts by Islamic, then moving into Makeni, Bonaventure, Baobab, Barkley, all the way to Mimosa Ratsa, and I'm the last ward before Chilanga, Chilanga district. So as for last year, within Linda compound being the biggest compound where people reside, there wasn't an incidence of cholera last year. So for us, I think the contamination of the water didn't really occur because our people are not very clustered together, and I think the water levels were slightly way below, so there wasn't much contamination. But as you said, Kanyama constituency as a whole, we have Soweto market and we have BH, and at Soweto the Vibrio cholera was germ was found when they tested one of the toilets. In fact, there was even a death of one of the people looking after one of the workers looking after the
patient.
Yes, who was found dead in the morning, covered in feces during the cholera outbreak. I think this time around we have learnt a lesson as Lusaka City Council, and if you can see around Lusaka, we've already started cleaning up the drainages. If you go down Kuku Market in Shawama, they're already removing the sludge and all that. If you see Lusaka City Council, we have higher number of patrols. We're coming into town more often. Not only are we getting rid of the street vendors that are coming back, we're also getting rid of the kiosks that are not adhering to our rules and regulations.
Just talking about getting rid of kiosks that are not in conformity with the rules and the regulations of the local authority. This has been a challenge for especially parties that are in government, because these people normally they threaten not to vote for you if you remove them out of the streets. What measures are you using? What educative programs have you put in place to tell them and educate them the dangers of them not conforming with the regulations and the rules?
The issue is that people do know what the dangers are, and that if we don't adhere to good sanitation practices and hygiene,
so they just want to abuse you.
We're going to get cholera. But as an individual, all those are our people who have voted us into power, certainly, and but they need a livelihood. They need places where they're able to establish their businesses, where they can sell their kapenta, vinkubala, inswa, since it's rainy season. So we as the council need to provide shelters or shops where the vendors can actually execute their businesses, where they can sell in an area where there's good hygiene, good toilets, running water, and an area that is not flooding. So in that light, we are building the upstory market, which is in Soweto, the central city of Lusaka, around Soweto market, that side. And we're expecting that when the market is established, most of our street vendors will be accommodated in that uprise market. And it's going to be, it's a state-of-the-art market that will be made out of concrete and cement, not the likes what we've had of the wooden type of shelters that has got a lot of plastic and paper that it's made out of. So I think that's a plus, and we expect that when these modernized markets are built, then the vendors are going to have a safe place. Most people will not be found on the street because they'll have a good place and a good environment where they can sell their wares from. And even us, that we are part of the problem of street vending. Because if I don't roll down my window in Cairo Road and decide to buy talk time or tomato or onion, then the vendors wouldn't have a place to sell their wares. But you see, we also encourage street vending. So I think it's we would also like to sensitize us residents, us who work in the offices, that they should also refrain from buying goods off the street.
Is that possible? Is that your reality? Is that something that can be achieved?
Yes, it's possible. It's a mindset. But what happens is that if you're
Now, if you
sensitive,
talk of your mindset, Ms. Mlinga, the mindset cannot be changed over time. This has been trending over a number of years. If you look, if you look at the previous governments, there were those threats of removing street vendors. At some point, we even had a vendor's desk at the State House,
Yeah.
which was trying to look at the affairs of the vendors, which did not even yield the intended results or purpose. The idea was good, but that was not achieved.
yeah, I think the main issue is that I think the main issue for the street vending is it has been a problem for a long time, but there's always a first step. And once you, I think coming out of the cholera outbreak, a lot of people wouldn't want us to go through that again. I think it was a very difficult period, and most of us shunned away from the CBD, the Central Business District, and most of us were scared to even greet each other and hug each other and all that type of thing. So as Zambians, as Lusaka residents, we've learned a lesson. And going forward, I mean, some of the sensitizations were such that wash your hands with soap, use chlorine. And I think even now, we are putting and using chlorine in our toilets, we're using chlorine in our water to drink. People have still maintained that standard. And just the outbreak was earlier on this year, but we're still maintaining the same practices. So it's unfortunate that the outbreak had to happen, but I think that people have taken in some good aspects in changing the way they live, and also the importance of having clean toilets around, and the fact that the PF government has started now. They've had a lot of stakeholders on board. I won't mention the company names so that we're not advertising, but a lot of companies came on board to donate to Lusaka City Council. They donated such things as bins, they donated brooms, they donated cleaning stuff, bleachers, a big donation of chlorine bottles to give to our members who live in our wards. So in taking that on board, we even right now, as of last week, I was invited to give out chlorine by a certain company within my ward who are giving out chlorine door to door. So we've started that sensitization and thinking of cleaning our environment right now. But as Lusaka City Council and the local government, we need to be more committed and more consistent with our measures to prevent this recurring, because not only cholera, it's typhoid, it's dysentery, it's diarrhea, you know. So we have to be consistent in our messages for sensitizing the people, and we must be consistent in making sure that we have all these products and chemicals that are available to our people in the wards, so that they're able to maintain the cleanliness, and to encourage infrastructure such that markets, communal areas, and make sure that there are flushable toilets and running water in these areas.
You talked of consistency, both at local government and at the councils. One thing that is noted here in concerning local government and the councils is we normally want to react. We are not proactive. Why is the problem? We wait for calamities to happen. What challenges are there?
I think
in local councils.
one of our main challenges
Yes.
would be that sometimes it's the funding that is not enough to go around. Henceforth, we stipulate that as an individual or person, we should all be paying for our waste management. Are you aware that most people dump their waste at one collective point? And when they dump their waste, it's that institution, or maybe by a market or a big green bin, and that's collected by council. Council is not paid for all the waste that they collect, and they're collecting waste every day. For private entities that are waste management companies, they are able to charge companies, big companies or malls to pick up their waste. But when we go into smaller residential areas and communities, you find that the fees that are being charged sometimes are not collected, or people are resisting, our residents are resisting to pay. I think they need to realize now that we don't have a society where things like waste management are free of charge. There is a fee attached to it because that disposal of waste costs money. Remember, you've got your heavy equipment, you've got your drivers that need to have a salary that go to the dumping site in Chunga, and you've got Chunga itself to maintain. There are scales there and machinery that compacts that waste. So all that needs goes at a cost. And that cost is borne just by Lusaka City Council alone. Whatever revenue is generated, most of the revenue goes into waste collection and fuel. So if every member can contribute a fee to that, I think it would also help in making sure that there's consistency in our waste management.
You talked about policies that can be put in place to ensure that the running of the local authorities are efficient and effective. Why haven't you formulated or come up with a deliberate policy to ensure that residents pay for garbage collection?
I think right now it's a means of some people are paying, but I think it's getting everybody to pay.
But do we have that policy now in place?
We have a policy that talks about payment of residents for waste management right now, but it's a means of how we're going to acquire it. I think we have been talking for a long time. We've heard of charging people on their mobile phones for waste management, but I think that hasn't really been completed entirely, and we're just waiting. I think there was an outcry from the residents about why we should be attaching waste management to our phone bills. So it's a matter of council sitting with its stakeholders, people like Zicta, the mobile phone companies, or dealing with communication services. Maybe as they pay for TV levy, we charge that waste management, but there hasn't really been a conclusion to that. Right now, we're using our waste management operators, the bigger companies, to collect our waste on our behalf, and certainly Lusaka City Council itself is collecting garbage using its own trucks and paying, charging the markets collectively. In certain areas, bigger areas like in site, maybe like for garden, they have also got a smaller vending people that go in, a tractor that goes in, charges resident by resident. But we haven't got a collective system as yet in place where every single person, every single household should be captured and should be paying for its waste management the same way we pay our TV levy licenses.
What are we waiting for?
I think we're not waiting. It's in process and it will be completed soon.
You talked of getting revenue through mobile phone. Is that an effective and efficient way? And do you think it is a fair way of collecting revenue?
Do you think almost everyone has got a mobile phone?
Yes.
Yeah. So I think that it might be an effective way of collecting revenue.
So how much will be collecting from one household? For example, I'm keeping 10 people. I'm paying, and you're going to tax everyone in my house. Is that fair?
I think that in your household, if you have a small baby, do you realize that your baby will generate more waste than yourself?
So how many of us are supposed to pay in one house?
Let me finish. Because a baby generates a lot of diapers and that type of thing, a lot of the feeding things. Baby would generate even more waste than your average human being. And the thing is that if the baby is charging more waste, we have to find a way of charging that person or the owner of the baby for that garbage. So if you're the father, then yes, we will have to charge you for that generation of the baby's waste, because we have a problem with diapers right now.
I get you. You charge the father, charge the mother, charge the sister, charge the uncle.
We won't charge the baby.
But you charge 10 people.
But we're going to charge the people living in that household, because remember, even the daughter, the son is providing that garbage. It might not only be in the household, but as they move on the bus, as they eat their Burger King, as they're moving to school, as they're going to work, they're generating waste. So it's fair to charge the people who have their handsets. Not randomly. I think there should be a systematic way of charging them and getting the waste collection. It might be, I think, a household of 10 people, charging everyone in the household, would be a bit too much. But I think there should be a system of maybe at least per household, this is what we charge. I think in future, systematically, it's very difficult to know between one household to another how much waste is being generated. But there could be something like a census. Over 5 people living here at this amount, over 10 people living here at this amount. But that hasn't been really looked, the infinite detail hasn't been looked into and discussed as a bylaw.
Okay.
But everyone should be charged for their waste. Remember that even the talk time that you buy, that talk time, your daughter, your son, yourself, your wife, you all buy that. And when you scratch it, what you do? You throw it away.
No, I don't do that. I buy it through mobile.
Really clever. So we, as residents, straight away,
if we are all buying through mobile top-up?
That would be a very good way to move forward. So I wish there were more residents like you that would buy through mobile top-up.
Okay, great. We've talked so much about garbage. Let's talk about health. How our health facilities? Do we have enough or sufficient health facilities in our communities in Lusaka? And let's go to specific to your ward.
Okay.
Looking at the number of residents, we've got one of the biggest compounds in your area. Do we have enough health facilities?
Unfortunately, in my ward, I think we'll start with the upside. The upside is Linda just now was recently acquired a clinic called Linda Clinic. It's just located by cooperative in the Push area, very near the council site office. So this clinic is the first governing body, government clinic, Chiraza clinic in the area. Prior to that, our residents unfortunately had to go to Game in Chilanga, they had to go to Chawama for health, or they had to go back into Kanyama. All of these areas had a radius of more than 5 kilometers. So I believe that it's not sufficient. And we are still working closely with the area MP so that we can have more health institutions within the area. I think they are not adequate, but at least as a stepping stone. So residents can get the primary treatment right now in a government clinic. And we still need to establish the building. We need to have some wards put in because there's no space right now for women who are delivering to be able to deliver at the clinic, but that's the second stage that we're looking at. So if we're going to have a healthy population, and if we're going to have a population that's going to generate revenue and increase the GDP of the country, I believe we should have healthy citizens. And also, when you talk about policy, the president launched the Keep Zambia Clean, Green and Healthy policy, and that certainly is a very, very big bylaw where we have to keep our communities clean. But remember, there's also the healthy aspect of it. So I always talk to our residents to also keep themselves fit, try and do some form of exercise, at least for 20 to 25 minutes daily, whether this may be walking, football, netball. I'm passionate about sports development in Mukolo at 12. So I encourage people to also be active and maintain healthy lives and good nutrition.
Talking about the Keep Zambia Clean campaign, which was launched by His Excellency President Edgar Lungu, this program has been launched before by the previous government. How is it working? Because it's pronounced at the national level. How effective is it on the community level at local government? Especially at the council, because you are the people that are more in contact with the residents.
I think what we have tried to do is we use, we reach the people using the area councillor every last Saturday, third Saturday of the month. There's a bylaw where institutions, shops, restaurants, bars, everyone has to be closed up to 10 hours and should participate in cleaning their area and their environment. And it's been, I think, a strong policy. I know that the area councillor really drives it. The president also finds time to drive the policy, and he'll go into an area and clean with the residents. But also, I think what we've seen recently is His Worship the Mayor, Miles Sampa, has also been motivating us councillors in our wards. He'll come in and help us clean. But he's also been giving donations or a prize of 1,000 kwacha to the cleanest house in the ward. And certainly he's already been to 2 wards already, And I'm hoping that my ward will be the next ward to receive the 1,000 for the cleanest house in the area. So we have these little kind of motivations that we're putting in. So we're going to be able to motivate our people to keep their environment clean. And it's a community thing. So when we clean, we're cleaning all together and making sure our area is tidy. You can imagine if you are cleaning on every third Saturday, if somebody passed by your house and threw a plastic bag, wouldn't you? It will take it upon yourself to call out to that person to pick up that paper, because you know on the third Saturday of that month it will be you to clean it. So what has happened is that it has heightened sensitivity, and more people are less likely to throw litter around. They would use the dustbins or designated places to offload their waste.
Is there any deliberate project or policy or any efforts to ensure that you sensitize the residents? Because if you wait for the last Saturday of the month, that might be too late. You'll find a heap of garbage, of course, piled up. Is there any deliberate policy, maybe say once a week, going to churches, going to schools, going to the markets and educate people, and maybe put posters, so on and so forth, about keeping their communities clean?
Actually, for Lusaka City Council in the health side, we have a lot of people that do our PR, and they definitely move into all the wards to help us with sensitization. Because sensitization is going in, we use various methods. We can go out with a megaphone, PA system in a vehicle, and drive through the area at least for an hour or so, sensitizing and reminding the people. And we give out leaflets, leaflets coming for like education or literacy type of leaflets that also are provided by Ministry of Health in collaboration, and also supporting partners, because you've got partners that actually come on board under Lusaka waste management, people like the Millennium Challenge account. They'll have material that talks about cleanliness and not dropping waste into these drainages that we have just built. As you know, the project has come to completion, because it's the mindset has to change. We need to stop dropping litter, because even though we've got these beautiful drainages now all around Lusaka to help remove the excess water from the rains, if we are going to keep throwing garbage and littering everywhere, we are going to block our drainages. So it's very, very important that we do change our mindsets, we do change our lifestyles, we adhere to the laws and be law-abiding citizens. It's very, very important, and it's programs such as these that we can also use to talk to our residents and tell them the importance of keeping their environments clean. Are
we seeing any positive change or feedback?
I think there's a positive change, but we have a long way to go. We would like to see a cleaner Lusaka, but I believe a believer of change, and I believe with time people are going to get better.
Okay, great. Now let's talk about education facilities. Toward 12, Mukolongo?
Mukolo Ward 12.
Mukolo Ward.
Yes.
Toward 12.
So
education facilities. We've seen you being involved in 1 or 2, 3 projects in schools and in terms of sports activities with the pupils. Do we have enough education facilities?
I think that education is key, and it's key to success. It's key to having literate residents that can actually change the mindset.
Contribute effectively.
Exactly, because if you're going to be educated, you're going to contribute to the society better. You're going to be of add value. Even as a Zambian citizen, when we travel for extra education to abroad, to these European countries, even they are selective in the type of citizens they want. They want you to be at least grade 12, have A levels or some form of degree or education, be able to speak English, read and write, before you are able to even enter these countries on visas, visa requirements. If you're going for, say, several years, maybe 1, 2, 3 years, you know, I'm not talking about the short visitation visas, but forever to be able to stay for this period, they have certain requirements, and they are looking for literate foreigners, yes, to enter their areas. So I think it's very important that if we are as a country, we focus on education. We must focus on education, because that's the basis of anything you can give give any citizen. That's the best gift you can give them. Well, my father said that you can lose everything today, tomorrow, but no one is ever going to take your brain. You're never going to lose your brain, meaning that you can always start again if you're educated. You're always going to have the means to get back up on your feet.
So now, getting back to your zeroing into your ward, do we have enough facilities?
So, as I told you, Munkolo Ward 12 is very vast. We certainly have private schools like the Islamic school that is doing very good. It offers a lot of courses to students, hands-on training, tailoring, that type of thing. Vocational type of courses. We have the only primary and secondary school, which is Bayuni, which runs up to grade 12, and that's the only primary school we have in the area. We have the Munkolo school, which goes only up to grade 9, and it's lacking 10, 11, 12. So you can imagine the people in Linda area don't have a secondary school that they can go to. There's also a Zok school that also goes to primary level, about grade 9. And we're working with the MP. I think from the time we even talked about our campaign promises to the people, water and sanitation, schools, and the clinic. Those were the 3 main priorities that we had promised the people. So as we're talking about Munkolo school, we focused on that. Currently, the state of affairs of Munkolo were not very good, so we actually started with the sanitation side. In this day and age, the school had pit latrines for both teachers and parents. So working with the very caring MP Elizabeth Peary, she came in on board, working with the area councillor, myself, and we've now started helping the school to build ablution blocks, flashable toilets. So when we go from that, the school has got a lot of land, and before 2021, we want to work with the line Ministry of Education, primary and tertiary education, to build the school to grade 12 level.
You were reading my mind. I was about to ask that we have gone halfway before you fulfill the promises that you gave to the residents that voted for you. Are we going to achieve this?
We are definitely going to achieve this. As I said, we started the interview saying that we need to help the people. We have to better the people. So my prayer is that by 2021, I would have made a difference, or we would say collectively, Lusaka City Council, the PF government would have made a difference to the people of Munkolo. But as you know, we have the compound area, and then we have people that live in Kumayat, and their needs are slightly different. So I think a lot of the cry also comes when the rainy season. We also have very bad roads right now within Bonaventure area. Bonaventure area is a planned settlement, but it's got poor roads and poor drainages. You can imagine a settlement that has been there for 30 years, and we've only got 2 roads built in Bonaventure. So I think here we need a lot of work to work with RIDA and see what funding can come in so we can have more bitumen roads within the area, because that's the cry of the people in that area. It's not really so much about water and those type of challenges, but they need tarmac roads so that they're able to drive more safely and not have this issue of getting stuck in the mud, to say.
Talking about the roads, how far have we gone in terms of trying to put the network, or improve the road network in your ward?
So for Munkolo Ward 12, or Kanyama as a whole, we're given 18.5 kilometers of tar on the phase 3 part of the roads. And
of the circa 400?
Sorry, L4, yeah, phase 3 of L400. And now it's coming into our area. We started with Garden Compound, where they got a road, and then we moved into Ward 10, which was near Soweto Market and BH, and now it will be a chance for Munkolo Ward 12 to enjoy some of that tarmac. So in total, we're going to get maybe about 5.6 kilometers, and that road will be in St. Bonaventure Road will be tarred, and we're hoping to get at least to lobby for the road coming from Mount Makulu to get a tarmac as well, because we have our ward, there's a very long gravel road from Mount Makulu all the way up into Linda Road.
As we're coming towards the end of the program, I wish we could go on and on. Let's talk about sanitation and water in your area. How is the situation?
So in 2016, if you're a person who used to listen to news or read the newspapers, Linda compound was always in the news. It was always about Linda water blues, Linda water blues. But now I am so happy to report that has come to an end. What happened is we partnered with Lusaka Water and Storage, and they got funding from a Danish Norwegian company, and the funds that came in were able to rehabilitate the water system. We had a tank of 150,000 liters capacity, and it has never ever gotten filled. It's worked, but it's never been filled. The pump was failing to push the water up this 150,000. It was too small, the capacity. It just didn't have enough capacity or boost power. So what happened was that we found another tank slightly away from the main tank and in tea tree area in Linda compound, and were able to fit in another booster pump. The challenges we had there was that we didn't have enough power coming from ZESCO now to power the pump. It took several months for ZESCO to come on board and give us a bigger kilowatts of energy voltage to pump the pump, so that then the water can now come from that new borehole and follow the pipes and fill the. It's an old tank, but it's still in very good condition. It hasn't. It still has a very good lifespan on it, many years on it. Now the tank fills up. Within 2 hours, the tank is full, and water is available for the residents. And I think that was one of my first campaign promises, and I'm so happy that the Linda residents can now have water from this one place. And of course, with that pump, we now need to connect pipes to the kiosks so that the kiosks also are able to provide water. So currently also Lusaka Water and Storage, which is a subsidiary of Lusaka City Council, it's our baby, they have changed their policies, and now all the trusts, the water trusts within the compound, are reverting back to Lusaka Water and Storage, so they can pump money into these kiosks, because you'll find that they're charging a high amount for a bucket, a drum, whatnot, and the residents were suffering. So these kiosks and water trusts are now going to go back to Lusaka Water and Storage, and they will be now managing these water trusts. And I think we're going to see an improvement of water reticulation and sanitation in all the wards. So this is a very, very good development.
Great. So you are saying Linda residents should be happy that they have been given water, and also looking forward to re-elect you so that you fulfill more promises. Well, that's on the lighter moment. Let's talk about sanitation. How are the toilets? You talked about some schools having pit latrines, so on and so forth. How are we going to tackle the issue of sanitation, toilets?
So, as you know, part of the problem, the outbreak of cholera that we had was a lot of waste getting into or contaminating our drinking water that we use. So toilets, flushable toilets, is a good way of avoiding such type of outbreaks in future. So it must be, it's a prerequisite, that every ward has toilets, especially in communal areas. We need to encourage our residents, as they are building their houses, that they need to upgrade from the pit latrine to flushable toilets. And that's why we are, as council, we are a planning authority. So we have building plans in place, and we're able to say your toilet should be at least 10 meters
away from the borehole.
Yes, from your borehole, your drinking water. And this is what we need to put in force, to have this separation and have the flushable toilet. So you would see that sometimes the pit latrines, when they collapse, you find that residents, especially in very compounded areas, would want to use plastic bags, and we call this the flying toilets. And it still happens in this day and age. So they do everything in the night in these plastics, and then what you do, you throw them in a
neighbor's house,
neighbor's compound, and that plastic bag eventually ends up in drinking water. and it's all that fecal matter that you can't see that contaminates all our drinking water. If we can have now the policy where strictly compounds need to upgrade to flushable toilets, we're going to see a drastic change, over 50% of our sanitation increasing. We do have stakeholders that are coming in and helping us with upgrading. For those compounds that already have very good water reticulation, they are upgrading our water systems, they are upgrading our water pipes, they are preventing the leakages so that we can have running water in houses, because that's a challenge. Without water, you can't keep clean. You can't wash your hands, you can't keep your surroundings clean, you can't wash your plates. And if we keep things dirty around our area and we don't have running and fresh water, we're going to be prone to diseases and germs. So flushable toilets is a way to go, and provision of water in every household. This should be a must for Lusaka City Council.
We hope that will be done by the hardworking councillor to ensure that running water and flushable toilets are implemented, roads and also schools, not forgetting health facilities. In your closing remarks, what challenges do you face as a councillor in your area? That which you feel, if these challenges were tackled, your work will be easy and smooth, and your ward will be able to improve and be the best ward probably in the city.
I think what we have as a community is we have a lot of blame culture. Blame the government, blame the MP, blame the president, blame the area councillor. I think the blame culture is something that should cease or it should reduce. Instead of always complaining, I think our community and residents, we need to sit and meet more often in our very busy schedule so we can always talk about a solution. If we can find a solution where we're communicating better regularly, we would be able to tackle some of these things, because government can't do everything. We just don't have that money and capacity to change everything at the same time. But we do have well-wishers in our communities who come on board and say, Bakansela, you haven't graded this road, but here's 200 liters of diesel. If you can bring in the grader, we can put it in and we can grade these roads. So there are very good community people and families that do come on board to help us with our jobs. For Makeni, we needed neighborhood watch within the area. We had a very powerful neighborhood watch many years ago, and it's something that we would like to talk to the community and reinstate. Same thing, the neighborhood watches in Berkeley and in Bonaventure. If communities met, they'd be able to even keep their communities safe and prevent the high number of crimes. And I'm also appealing not only to residents or during this Christmas season, but also to the Zambia police, Chilanga police and Linda police, Makeni police, Islamic police, to come on board and work with us so that we're able to reduce the numbers of crime during the festive season. This is the time that crime levels are on the increase, and there is a high demand for cash and people to be jovial and all that. So we expect that the police to have more presence in our areas, and also to the residents that during the festive season they should I think they can enjoy, but don't overdo it. So don't drink and drive. Be safe on the roads. We see a high number of accidents during the festive season. So my appeal is to residents that if they want to take a drink, let them arrive at their homes and then have their beers, or have a designated driver amidst the group who can take them safely home, or book a taxi or Uber as they call it, whatever. But I think to be cautious during the festive season and be safe on the roads. I think that's really my message for this festive season.
Great. Thank you so much, Abupe, for making an appearance.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you for having me on the program.
Great. Hope to call you again so that you can give us updates on how far you've gone in terms of upgrading the roads, upgrading the neighborhood watch, upgrading the water facilities, health facilities, to mention but just a few.
Certainly. It'll be a pleasure.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Well, that's all we had on the Noble Supremacy. We had Vupe Mlenga, who is the Ward 12 Councillor in Kanyama. Thank you so much for watching. Do join us next week at the same time when we bring yet another exciting topic. This has been Alan Mutonga. Have a pleasant viewing.